Welcome back everybody to Banking Simplified. Let's imagine that you are a bank manager of a very big bank और आपने बहुत सारे loans approve किए हैं. Now imagine there's a global financial crisis and the borrowers जिसको आपने loans दिए हैं are not able to repay it back. Who is going to ensure that your entire bank does not face a big loss? और ऐसा नहीं हो that आपका बैंक bankruptcy में ही चला जाए. That is where Basel norms come in. जैसे कि ICC होता है for cricket, that who makes sure that the game is being played in proper rules and regulations, there are Basel Accords for banks. And today we'll try and understand what are these Basel Accords, why do you need them in banks, and what are the different types of Basel norms that are there or have been introduced over time. But first tell me, this is a very common picture that you see in wallpapers. Can you tell me which is this place? This is Switzerland. And why am I talking about Switzerland when we are talking about banking? Because ये जो term हम बार बार use कर रहे हैं, Basel norms, Basel Accords, what is this term Basel? Basel is a place in Switzerland. And why are they named after this place in Switzerland? Is because the Basel is the headquarter for BIS, which is the Bureau of International Settlement, or BIS had come with a committee called BCBS, okay, Basel Committee for Banking Supervision, और ये BCBS had created these Basel norms. That is why हम इनको Basel बोलते हैं. So the first Basel norm that was created, Basel 1, उसको हम बोलते हैं, उसको बोलते थे BIS Accord, okay, BIS 1988 norms बोलते थे, but later on they had changed it to Basel 1, Basel 2, Basel 3. So why do we have three kinds of Basel norms? See, over time scenarios are changing. Over time, the way business is done is changing. Banks have started to invest in different kind of products. Derivative products have increased. Risks have changed. तो पहले AI नहीं होता था. पहले banks would not face risks like climate change. But now they are facing those risks. पहले banks would not face risks like cyber risk to the extent they face today. So all these risks have to be catered to. So with changing times, with changing technology, banks have also made changes in their rules and regulations. और ये जो changes हैं वो आपको Basel 1 के बाद 2 और 3 में दिखने को मिलेंगे. So Basel 1 is like the standard, the basic. Basel 2 में उन्होंने changes किए basis the scenario, basis the economy, basis how business is changing. And Basel 3 also, they have again upgraded and made more changes. It's like the iPhone that you have. तो आपके पास एक iPhone है, iPhone 10 था, फिर 12 हुआ, फिर 14, फिर 16. So all these have different features, right? It's the same phone having different features, trying to adhere, trying to help you or trying to give you all the latest features that you want. So similarly, Basel ने भी ये किया है. Basel 1, 2, 3 is like upgradation, like iPhone, and having features that is required at that point of time in the economy. Now let's try to understand that what are. So I've told you BCBS is the BCBS is the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, which had come with these norms. So this committee was formed by G10 members back in 1988, and now there are in total 45 members that's there. Now this is जो BCBS है, it plays a supervisory role. Let's compare BCBS to Reserve Bank of India. So जैसे Reserve Bank of India है आपका Central Bank of the country, which basically means that RBI is supervising all the banks within the country. What is BCBS doing? BCBS is like the central bank for all the central banks in the world. It's the same thing. So you have RBI guidelines for banks in the country. You have BCBS guidelines for all the central banks in the world. So the BCBS is telling the central banks how their banks should work in the economy. So moving on, why do we need these norms? First and foremost, जो मैंने आपको example दिया था, where I had told you to imagine yourself as a bank manager and there's a loss or there's a crisis like situation. of course, for that you need Basel norms so that your bank does not fail. But one of the most important and key reasons why we need Basel norms is to protect the depositor's money. Now, what is the function of a bank? ये तो आप सबको पता है. Just tell me or put in the comments below. What is the primary function of a bank? The primary function of a bank is to save the depositor's money, give them interest on that money, and lend money to people who need money. This is like the basic. तो banks इसीलिए फॉर्म हुए थे कि हम पैसे का जिसके पास पैसा है उनसे लेके हम उनको दें जिनके पास पैसा नहीं है. So if you think of a bank, let's imagine that it's your bank, okay? So when you're opening your own bank, you will put your capital. आप अपना पैसा डालोगे, which is the owner's fund. So that capital, let's assume, is 5 crores. Okay, there is 5 crores. Now, the depositors will come and also deposit money in your bank. Let's assume depositors are depositing another 5 crores. So now how much do you have? You have 10 crores with you. Now, आप इस 5 crores को यहाँ पे बिठा के तो नहीं रखोगे. You will invest this 5 crores somewhere so that you can give the interest to your depositors. The savers will also want interest on the money that they are keeping with you. Now, there are borrowers who are coming to you asking for money because there's a lack of money. So from people who have money, from the depositors, you are giving it to people who want money. Now ये 10 crores आपने इधर उधर दे दिए. Whoever wants money, let's assume A, B, C. ठीक है. Now this 10 crores has been lent out. ये जो आपके depositors के पैसे थे, ये भी तो हमने lend out कर दिए. Now imagine ये depositors are not able to repay. Imagine there's a situation of crisis, they default. Nobody can repay this back. How will you repay your depositors? Depositors' money is gone. This is hard earned money of your depositors. ये जितने भी आपके citizens थे in the country who had deposited money thinking that this is the most safe place, their hard earned money is gone. Plus your own capital is gone. That is gone for sure. But you are even not able to repay the depositors. Now for this आप बोलोगे there is insurance, DICGC है जो 5 lakhs insure करती है. But is the insurance amount enough to insure all the deposits that you have in a bank? No. All the money that you've invested, the insurance companies will only insure a particular amount of your deposits, not the entire money. Okay, and banks cannot rely on the government completely, and government also does not want that banks rely on them completely to bail them out from situations like this. तो क्या होगा? What will banks do? Banks will be like very lenient. किसी को भी लोन दे देंगे, कहीं से भी पैसे उठा लेंगे, कहीं पे भी इन्वेस्ट कर देंगे. If they don't have that sense of responsibility, so bank will bail you out in certain situations. But if you remember in the 2008 crisis, the government did not bail Lehman Brothers out, which was also an indication that banks have to be compliant. Banks have to make sure that they can repay their depositors when there's the need. They should have enough risk management within themselves that they don't have to fall back on government every time there's a crisis like situation. That is why you need these Basel norms to make sure that in times of crisis, or if there's a default, or if there's a economic crisis, the banks are in a situation that they are able to sustain themselves. So the first, as I said, there are 3 Basel norms, Basel 1, 2, 3. So the first Basel norm, Basel 1, mainly focused on only one kind of risk, that is credit risk. That is, the borrowers will not be able to repay on time. That was the only risk that they catered to. Because as I said, it is like iPhone. The basic iPhone did not have features that the iPhone 16 has today. Similarly, Basel 1 did not have features to cater to other kind of risks. Because at that point of time in 1988, the only focus was to lending. Only focus of the banks were lending. So they focused on credit risk. So as per Basel I, the minimum capital requirement of a bank was 8% of RWA. Now what is RWA? RWA is risk weighted assets. Now you will ask me, what is risk weighted assets? So as the name suggests, for now let's take any loan. Let's take a loan of rupees 100 crores. Now this loan, what is the risk? What is the risk weighted amount of this loan? Which basically means how much amount of this loan may not get repaid. So मान लीजिए आपने अपने दोस्त को एक उधार दे दिया. आपके दोस्त ने बोला यार मुझे 500 रुपये की ज़रूरत है, प्लीज़ गिव इट टू मी. यू हैव गिवन दैट 500 रुपीज़ टू द फ्रेंड. नाउ इफ दैट फ्रेंड इज समवन जो कभी भी आपको पैसे वापस नहीं करता है, तो आप क्या सोचोगे, अरे ये शायद 50 ही मुझे वापस करेगा, माई 50 रुपीज़ इज गॉन. सो व्हाट इज़ योर रिस्क वेटेड एसेट्स? 50 रुपीज़, यानी कि जो वो वापस नहीं करेगा. The same thing applies here. Out of this 100 crores, what is that amount that you think will not be repaid over time, which is at risk? और ये जो amount है, how do you come to that amount? इसके लिए there are certain risk weights जो बेजल नॉर्म्स में लिखे हुए हैं फॉर डिफरेंट रेटेड लोन्स. तो ये जो लोन्स हैं, ये लोन्स आपके अलग अलग रेटिंग्स के होते हैं. सो अगर आपका दोस्त बहुत अच्छा अगर टाइमली रीपे करता है, तो आपको पता है कि 100 में से 100 रुपये मेरे पास वापस आ जाएंगे. वो टाइमली रीपे नहीं करता, उसका कोई अर्निंग सोर्स नहीं है, तो यू नो दैट दिस गाय इज नॉट गोइंग टू रीपे मी ऑन टाइम, तो मेरे 50 रुपये गए. सिमिलरली ऑल द लोन्स, अगर ट्रिपल रेटेड लोन है कोई, तो इसका रिस्क वेट कम होगा, यानी कि देयर इज ओनली 20%, मतलब ऑफ द 100 रुपीज ओनली 20% मे नॉट गेट रीपेड. सो हम 20% इसका रिस्क वेटेड एसेट्स रखेंगे. सो 20 रुपीज़ अगर 100 रुपीज़ का वो लोन है. अगर वो मान लो डबल बी है, तो हम इसको फॉर एग्जाम्पल एज ऑफ नाउ 50% ले लेंगे. अगर वो मान लीजिए नॉन रेटेड है या फिर डी रेटेड है, यानी कि डिफॉल्ट रेट बहुत ही बुरा लोन है, देयर इज 100% चांस दैट दिस अमाउंट इज नेवर कमिंग बैक टू द बैंक. तो हम इसका पूरा 100% जो है, हम बोलेंगे 100% ही हमारा लोन का अमाउंट रिस्की है, तो हम हमारा रिस्क वेटेड एसेट्स विल बी ₹100. So you've understood how RWA is calculated. So what is the bank saying? That what is Basel I saying? That 8% of your RWA, यानी कि अगर यहाँ पे आपका हमने 100 crores लिया, and let's assume that this is a D-rated, okay? D-rated अगर है तो of course ये 100 rupees ही इसका risk weighted assets हुआ. So 8% of your 100 rupees will have to be kept. So 8 rupees have to be kept as your capital. CAR बोलते हैं, कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी रेशियो. आपका कैपिटल जो है 8% होना चाहिए ऑफ RWA in this kind of a situation. And as I said, these guidelines were applied in India in 1999. और इंडिया में एक चीज़ आप याद रख सकते हो, that जो भी बेसल नॉर्म होता है for capital or for any other instrument, what is done in India is that we are conservative. In India, we try to be conservative. RBI tries to be more conservative, or it keeps the percentage 1% above the amount that is prescribed by Basel. अगर Basel ने बोला है कि 8% of RWA आपको कैपिटल रखना है, तो RBI बोलेगी इंडियन बैंक्स को कि आपको 9% of RWA आपको एज अ कैपिटल रखना है. ओके, नाउ Basel 1 हो गया. Then Basel 2 came into picture. So Basel 2 was introduced in 2004. And Basel 2 में उन्होंने क्या किया, उसमें उन्होंने pillars बना दिए. So Basel 2 had 3 pillars. Pillar 1, Pillar 2, Pillar 3. Pillar 1 saying minimum capital requirement. So every bank has to have minimum 8% of RWA, जो हमने तब बोला था. Minimum every bank should keep how much? 8% of RWA. एंड ये जो पिलर 1 है, दिस इज बेसिकली द रेगुलेटरी कैपिटल दैट द बैंक्स हैव टू कीप. मतलब द रेगुलेटर्स हैव टोल्ड यू दैट दिस इज द मिनिमम दैट यू हैव टू मेंटेन इररिस्पेक्टिव. पिलर 2 उन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस किया, विच इज सुपरवाइजरी रिव्यू. नाउ वॉट एवर इज नॉट, सो हियर वॉट एवर हैज नॉट बीन कवर्ड, यहाँ पे मेजर रिस्क्स वर कवर्ड. सो वॉट एवर वॉज नॉट कवर्ड हियर वुड बी कवर्ड अंडर पिलर 2 एंड कैपिटल वुड बी कंप्यूटेड. तो यहाँ पे इंटरनल कंप्यूटेशन होगा, यहाँ पे रेगुलेटरी कंप्यूटेशन. वॉट एवर रेगुलेटर्स हैव सेड, वॉट एवर रूल्स दे हैव लेड डाउन, उसके बेसिस पे आप इसका कैपिटल कंप्यूट करोगे. अंडर पिलर 2 यू विल कंप्यूट बेसिस बैंक्स ओन रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस, एंड आप इसमें वो सारे रिस्क कवर करोगे जो आप पिलर 1 पे नहीं किया है आपने, और इसको बोलेंगे इकोनॉमिक कैपिटल. एंड दिस ऑल्सो नीड्स टू बी मेंटेन्ड बाय ऑल बैंक्स. एंड देन केम पिलर 3 विच इज द मार्केट डिसिप्लिन, और ये है आपके सारे डिस्क्लोजर्स जो बैंक को करने पड़ते हैं. दिस इज नॉट योर एनुअल रिपोर्ट, ओके. एनुअल रिपोर्ट डिस्क्लोजर इज डिफरेंट. ये जो पिलर 3 डिस्क्लोजर्स है, दीज आर डिस्क्लोजर्स दैट द बैंक्स हैव टू डू टू द रेगुलेटर. तो आरबीआई को बैंक्स को क्वार्टरली, मंथली, एनुअली कुछ डिस्क्लोजर्स करने पड़ते हैं, जैसे LCR अमाउंट, NSFR अमाउंट, और देयर इज अनदर थिंग कॉल्ड RBS, रिस्क बेस्ड सुपरविजन. इसके अंदर आरबीआई हैज अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्क्लोजर्स दैट द बैंक हैज टू मेक. एवरी बैंक हैज टू मेक इन फैक्ट. सो दैट कम्स अंडर योर पिलर 3. Then came Basel III. After Basel II came Basel III, and Basel III was introduced after the global financial crisis of 2008. So that is when, BIS and BCBS got to know that Basel II was not enough to protect the banks. After that global financial crisis happened, they had realized that they needed something more efficient and something more supervisory, so that the failure that had happened in 2008 does not happen again. And they introduced Basel III in 2010. Now Basel III focused on 3 main things. One is your capital, जो हमने Basel 1 में भी देखा, Basel 2 में भी देखा, that was 8% of RWA. So now in Basel 3 what they have done, they have increased your need to maintain capital. So they've increased it to 9%. 8% था, they've increased it. Then leverage. Capital, leverage, funding and liquidity. Then they introduced a ratio called leverage ratio. That how much of the debt is a bank using to finance its investments and its assets. वो देखने के लिए, so that banks बहुत ज़्यादा debt ना ले ले, बहुत ज़्यादा कर्ज में ना डूब जाए, ओके, और डज नॉट गेट इनटू टू मच ऑफ लेवरेज. उसके लिए उन्होंने लेवरेज रेशियो इंट्रोड्यूस किया. एंड फंडिंग एंड लिक्विडिटी फाइनली. सो फाइनली दे सेड दैट जो फंडिंग एंड लिक्विडिटी है फॉर द बैंक, दैट इज शॉर्ट टर्म एंड लॉन्ग टर्म. फंडिंग वॉज लॉन्ग टर्म, लिक्विडिटी वॉज शॉर्ट टर्म. सो बैंक शुड बी एबल टू फंड देयर कैश आउटफ्लोज, शॉर्ट टर्म कैश आउटफ्लोज, बाय हाई क्वालिटी लिक्विड एसेट्स. बहुत हाई क्वालिटी यानी कि कैश इक्विवेलेंस, गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज जो इजीली वो लोग लिक्विडेट कर सके, उनके पास इनफ होने चाहिए टू मीट द कैश आउटफ्लोज ऑब्लिगेशंस फॉर 30 days. एक तो वो था, दैट वाज योर LCR, ओके. एंड फंडिंग के लिए दे वांटेड दैट अ बैंक शुड ऑल्सो हैव स्टेबल फंडिंग फॉर 1 year to meet the funding requirements within that particular year. So required stable funding क्या है of the bank, and available funding क्या है, available stable funding क्या है, that is what banks wanted to make sure. So they should have enough funds to meet the requirements for 1 year, and LCR में they should have enough funds to meet the outflows for 30 days in a stretch. And दोनों का जो रेशियो था, मतलब in the sense for LCR they wanted that LCR to be maintained at 100%, NSFR also to be maintained at 100%. So I'll share a small instance with you. When I was working with a bank, the bank regularly, like every day, monitors the movements in LCR. So quarterly, they have to put up a report to the management saying that LCR has moved this much, by that much. So if the regulatory requirement of LCR is 100, banks internally keep a higher threshold. 100 से ज़्यादा रखते हैं, मान लीजिए 105 रखते हैं, 110 रखते हैं, so that ऐसा कभी situation ही ना आए that you go below 100, because if you do, then that will cause a regulatory problem. Then you have to raise it up to the regulators and say why your LCR has gone down below 100%. So at that point of time, I had seen that this LCR had gone below 100 and reports had to be made instantly, calculations had to be shown that why this had happened, and also they had to show that how the LCR requirements will be met the next day. How? By raising high quality liquid assets, LCR would be met the next day. So this is how important these points are, or these various instruments are, when it comes to Basel III. In capital also, in Basel III, what they had done is, जो आपका tier 1 capital होता है, they had increased the requirement of tier 1 capital to 5.5%, from 4.5% to 5.5%. So in the capital, so tier 1 capital is the owner's fund. Okay, it is the reserves, the retained earnings, the shareholders' funds. So this is the capital that will take the first hit in times of crisis. Let's assume that there's a global financial crisis. So the capital which will be first absorbed will be the tier 1 capital. So the emphasis on this was made in Basel III, saying that tier 1 capital has to be increased in a bank, because this is the one which is going to take the highest shock whenever there's a bank run or whenever there's a case of insolvency. So in capital, they have also introduced under Basel III 2 important terms. One is your capital conservation buffer and the other is counter-cyclical buffer. So capital conservation buffer is that another above the tier 1 capital that you're keeping, this is 2.5% that you need to maintain, and this 2.5% is tier 1 capital. So tier 1 capital of 2.5% needs to be kept over and above the capital that you're already keeping. And counter-cyclical buffer is, so in an economy moves like this. Whenever the economy is here doing really well, as per counter-cyclical buffer, Basel says that you conserve your profits here and keep it for a situation like this. And you have to conserve from around 0 to 2.5%. Now this has not yet been implemented as such in the Indian banks, but this has been introduced in your Basel III. Then there's a leverage ratio, where I said that the banks, Basel wants to make sure, BCBS wants to make sure that the banks are not taking a lot of leverage, or they have enough tier 1 capital to fund their average assets, total assets, not risk RWA, the average total assets. And leverage ratio has to be kept at 3% by all banks. And finally, there's funding and liquidity, where I've already explained you about LCR and NSFR. So this is the minimum requirement as per Basel III. So 8% you have to keep as your total capital. Over and above that, we had set capital conservation buffer, and this was introduced in Basel III. This was earlier not there. Earlier we only had for Basel 1 and 2, this was there. And Basel III, we introduced this. So minimum capital to be maintained along with capital conservation buffer by all banks is 10.5%. Now this 10.5% is as per Basel. But as I had told you earlier, RBI goes by a conservative approach, and RBI tries to protect the Indian banks as much as they can, and hence they have increased this 8% by 1% to 9%. We have 2.5% of capital conservation buffer, and finally we have 11.5%. Finally, we have 11.5% that needs to be maintained as your This is as per RBI as your capital to risk weighted assets. So I hope Basel 1, 2 and 3 are clear to you, and how Basel 3 has incorporated areas which were not there in Basel 2 and Basel 1, basis a lot of study, understanding and changes in banking environment. And now also the Basel 3 is getting reformed, new risks are getting involved, Basel 4 is coming in the picture. I want you to tell me, or just think of what are the new risk areas, or what are the new things that can be included in Basel 4 going forward. So in Basel 2 and Basel 3, they have included mainly credit, market and operational risk. There's liquidity risk also. But what are the other risk areas that can be included in Basel 4? And I want you to think about it from the changing scenario, this changing perspective of the world, and how economy is changing, how technology is changing, how AI is coming into the picture for the banks and all. So how this is going to impact and how new risks will arise for the banks. I hope it's clear to you, and we'll try to discuss other points in the next session. Thank you.